The Miami Dolphins have lost to the Buffalo Bills in week 2 of Thursday Night Football, 31 to 10. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the PTW podcast. I'm doing an emergency episode, if you will, without my colleague, Tati the Football Greek, because as a hardcore Dolphins fan, I think I just needed to get something off my chest in regards to this game. Now, everyone is going to point out to the obvious unfortunate injury to Tua Tagovailoa, who suffered a concussion in the third quarter, going for it on fourth down, getting the first down, but instead of sliding, uh, going toward Damar Hamlin headfirst, upon contact, falls to the floor and starts having symptoms eerily similar to what happened to him versus the Cincinnati Bengals, also on Thursday Night Football 2 years ago. This marks the fourth concussion, the third recorded concussion, if you will, but what many speculate the fourth concussion of Tua's career in the last 2 years. And there's speculation as to whether or not he should retire following this game, of which I will address head on. I do want to point out something before I even begin talking about the possibility of Tua retiring after this game. And that is that Tua and the rest of the Miami Dolphins did not look good in this game. As I had predicted in our preview episode yesterday with the PTW podcast, I had predicted a 31-17 lopsided win for the Buffalo Bills and came eerily close with a 31-10 victory. This is not me trying to pat myself on the back. This is me simply stating that Miami Dolphins do not have an answer for the Buffalo Bills. They are a team, the Buffalo Bills are a team that the Dolphins simply don't know how to solve. They are a Rubik's Cube that they simply cannot set straight, get all the colors together and have a matchup. Mike McDaniel continues to get outcoached by Sean McDermott, regardless of who his offensive coordinator is and regardless of who his defensive coordinator is. Even with all the receivers turnover that Josh Allen had, he had no trouble moving the ball today, capitalizing on excellent field position that the Dolphins continued giving the Buffalo Bills throughout the game. Tua threw for 3 interceptions, almost for 4, one of them being a pick six, one of them being a very costly turnover at the very beginning of the game, which set up Buffalo's first touchdown to give them an early 7-0 lead, of which Miami did match and made it 7-7, but the game just basically got out of hand after that. So Tua did not play well for this game. His stats are under 200 yards. I believe it was like 145 yards, 3 interceptions. Tyreek Hill was a non-factor in this game, much like he's been a non-factor in all now 6 games against the Buffalo Bills as a member of the Miami Dolphins. So this isn't simply a Tua problem. This is a problem that the Dolphins have against the Buffalo Bills. They simply do not know how to play against this team. And until they can figure that out, any hope or ambition that they have for the AFC East title should go out the window. I stated on this podcast that if Miami does not win the Week 2 game against the Buffalo Bills on Thursday Night Football, that the hopes of getting the division crown for the AFC East are gone. And I fully believe that. This is not me, saying that everything's on fire and run for the hills. Miami still has 15 games to play, possibly without their starting quarterback. And I'll talk about a possible solution that I have for that as well in this episode. But a lot of things need to get figured out. They squeaked out a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, and they got embarrassed by the Buffalo Bills. Very lopsided game, also at home. They now have a few days to rest up. They got a 10-day break before they have to fly west to Seattle and play the Seattle Seahawks, and we'll see how they do in Week 2 after their Week 1 win. So, even without Tua's concussion, Miami was not winning this game. They did not have the fire that they needed to play to Buffalo's level and to match the strength and the hard-nosed football. I kept saying tough-nosed football in the previous episode. I meant hard-nosed football that Buffalo plays. Miami still is a finesse team. They tried running it sometimes on 3rd and 1, on 4th and 2, and continuously either got sacked for loss of down or turnover on downs or got negative yardage on those 3rd and short plays. Now, So the question of whether or not Tua Tagovailoa should consider retirement, and I think the answer is obviously yes. I think that obtaining 4 concussions, again 3 reported, but everyone speculates that there have been 4 concussions in the 2 years. Um, so I think signifies that he, as an individual, as a father, and as a husband, and as a son, needs to really evaluate his priorities in his life and what he wants to do and the health that he wants to have moving forward. I know he's a tough individual. He comes from a tough family, and he wants to prove everyone wrong who says that he's injury prone and all that kind of stuff. And he did with the hip injury that the horrendous hip injury that he suffered at Alabama, with the myriad of injuries that he had in his first year as a Dolphin, and then coming back and playing a healthy 17 game season after suffering the 3 concussions in the prior year. But now that he's gotten his contract, he got his guaranteed money. I personally would hold no animosity towards Tua if he turned around tomorrow and said that he is retiring from the NFL. I fully believe that it is the right path for him because it is not looking good. And even with him fully healthy, fully healthy, this team did not look great against the Buffalo Bills. And that's not to say that I want to move on from Tua. I still believe that he has a lot of potential, and I think he's a very good, if not great quarterback. He's not upper echelon, but he's right there. But you can't ignore the facts. You can't ignore the fact that A, he just doesn't play well against the Bills. And that's going to be your Achilles heel the entire time that Mike McDaniel and Tua are this duo here, because you need some flash to beat this team. Buffalo just has something that Miami cannot match. But number two is the fact that Tua just needs to start thinking about his long-term health, and he needs to start thinking about not only the health of himself, but the benefit of the entire team. Because at the end of the day, the team is only as strong as their weakest link. And I'm not saying that Tua is their weakest link, but I am saying that there are things that are in his game that do not benefit the Miami Dolphins. I want to show you this stat right here. Within 1 hour, the Miami Dolphins Twitter or X account had 3 injury updates. Tua Tagovailoa had been ruled out with a concussion. Teron Armstead, their star left tackle, had been downgraded to out. And Jeff Wilson Jr., their backup running back, had an oblique injury and was out. In one game, Miami lost Tua, Armstead, and Jeff Wilson Jr. at home. And it's a short week, Thursday Night Football. These things happen. But again, this is a common theme with the Mike McDaniel Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Oil and water. They do not play well together. Or Miami doesn't play well against the Bills. The Bills play very well against the Miami Dolphins. Now, the one thing that I do want to point out is I fully understand that the Bills want to celebrate this win. It's a division rival, and they want to celebrate the fact that they have won this game. But I think it's a little too much when you have one post that say Bills win 31-10. The next post, the Buffalo Bills, well, this is the NFL, so they're just retweeting that. But the Buffalo Bills shouting out that Ryan Fitzpatrick was the only person on the Thursday Night Football team to pick Buffalo to win, which I thought, by the way, was crazy. I know Miami had a lot of hype entering this game in this season, but I did not understand the odds in Miami's favor. I saw this outcome coming a mile away. And this is a hardcore Dolphins fan of over 25 years, maybe in over 30 years. I'm trying to think of how old I am. Yeah, of over 30 years. So you've got 2 posts. A third post by the Buffalo Bills, Mr. Thursday. Josh Allen is 7-0 on Thursdays. Fantastic. A fourth post by the Buffalo Bills. Catch of the day, catching a fish or a tuna with a W on it. Very cheeky. Another one, squish the fish, 31-10. Another one from Buffalo, just another day at the beach. How many posts do you need to post saying that you won the game? You won the game. You won it fair and square. You absolutely outclassed your division rival. But 5 posts, all by the official Buffalo Bills Twitter account, after Tua's concussion, after that scary concussion that took him out of the game, show class, man. Don't be posting 5 Twitter posts back to back to back to back to back of how you caught the fish of the day, just another day at the beach, 7-0 on Thursday Night Football, squished the fish, got the win. 5 different posts. Good for you. You won a division game against a team that you regularly beat up all the time. You're the schoolyard bully. Good for you. Great job, Buffalo. And this is not me crapping on the team. Josh Allen killed it. The team killed it. Special teams, their defense stepped up. Obviously, Miami didn't play well. This is not me being bitter. This is just me pointing out that, like, you won the game. Let's move on, okay? You won a game that, okay, maybe the media didn't expect you to win because, oh, Buffalo is washed because they lost Stephon Diggs and they lost all these other players. No, I am the lone Miami Dolphin fan who thought that you would win this game, Buffalo, who knew that you would win this game because that's what you do against the Dolphins. You defeat the Dolphins, and the Dolphins, until proven otherwise, are not at Buffalo's level. Okay? That's just a fact. Let's just calm down, Miami fans, with all this hype. We have not proven that we can beat the Buffalo Bills. And that's who we have to beat in order to become AFC East champions and get home field advantage in the playoffs, which is what we need because we can't go back to Kansas City in -4-degree weather and try to win games over there. So what does Miami do moving forward? I honestly think that Tua is done for the season. I would be very shocked if the NFLPA, the NFL, Mike McDaniel, the Miami Dolphins organization, and his family allow him to come back and play football this year. Next year's a different question, but I think he's done for the year. For the benefit of his own health and his own safety, I think he's done. Is Skylar Thompson going to lead you the rest of the way? I don't think so. And I love Skylar Thompson. I have a lot of appreciation for that man. He took us to the playoffs 2 years ago and almost eked out a win against the Bills, 34-31, and had some solid drives once Tua went down. But Miami Dolphin fans are going to laugh at me when I say this, but I'm dead serious when I say this. I think Miami should reach out to Ryan Tannehill. I think that Miami should call Ryan Tannehill and say, look, we've got Raheem Mostert. You had Derrick Henry. We've got Devon Achane. You had Derrick Henry. We've got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith. We've got pieces that can make this offense badass. We need a gunslinger like you. We need someone who's tough and who's not going to be injured. And granted, yeah, he got injured in Miami, actually 2 years in a row, but that's because he never had surgery the first time. He opted out of surgery and then re-injured his knee again in the first training camp of the season, right? So, bring back Ryan Tannehill. You can't have number 17. That's Jalen Waddle's number. You can get another number, you know, because with Bradley Chubb scheduled to come back in a few weeks, I don't think it's some other team's second string. Bring back Ryan Tannehill. I'm dead serious. Bring him back and see what you can do. See if you can make some noise. And in the interim, these doctors really need to evaluate Tua, and Tua really needs to take an internal scan of his body, of his mind, of his soul, of his well-being, and ask himself, what's more important? Bringing a championship to South Florida or being cognizant and being there for your kids and your family for many, many years to come? I know what I would do if I was in his position. I very much believe in signs. I believe that the universe tries to tell you stuff. I really, truly believe that. And I think the universe is telling Tua something. He had his moment in that national championship game with Alabama. He had his moment coming back from that hip injury and being drafted fifth overall in the NFL draft by the Dolphins. He had his moment in that comeback game against the Ravens. He had his moment in that game against the Arizona Cardinals in his first year. He had his moment winning his first game against the Rams after Ryan Fitzpatrick had basically led the way up until that season, up until that point in the season. And I think that's it. I personally think that's it. As a Dolphin fan, as a hardcore Dolphin fan, as someone who wants the best for these players, wants the best for these coaches, wants the best for this organization, trust me, I would do practically anything to see the Lombardi Trophy hoisted up in South Florida. I would do almost anything to see the Miami Dolphins win the Super Bowl. Hell, go to the Super Bowl. But to win it once in my lifetime would be fantastic. I'm okay with it not being this year. I don't think it's this year. I've said it on this podcast many times. I don't think that they are as good as they were last year. They might have more talent, supposedly, but they lost some key pieces, Christian Wilkins and such. And I honestly don't think that they are at the level that they were last year. So, Tua's concussion is very unfortunate. His fourth one in 2 years. And I truly believe that this is a sign from the universe that he should stop playing. He should call it a day, at least take the rest of the year off. I know it sucks. I know he lost weight and he wants to be more mobile for situations like this where he can run for the first down, in which he got it. Why he didn't slide is beyond me. But Emmanuel Acho was saying, we need to have a talk about Tua Tagovailoa. This is my talk. I think he needs to call it a day. And I think the Miami Dolphins, if they're smart, will call Ryan Tannehill. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow previewing not only this game, but the rest of the games coming up in week 2. Take care.